Mr. Jonathan Hastings, hello and welcome.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, you're better than really good, mate, because you've got your first listing.
Yeah, come on.
Mate, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on. Anyone who's listening or watching won't be aware, but I've sprung this on Jonathan a little bit last minute, so I appreciate you making the time, mate.
Come on,
And
hell, I wasn't ready for this.
oh, mate, at least you've got hair up there. There's a reason why I wear caps 24/7, mate, and it's not because I've got a wonderful head of hair like yours. Um, Mate, I just wanted to kind of isolate this moment in time, get you on camera, have a conversation, share an insight into your young business and
Mm.
the milestone that you've just hit. So, for anyone who doesn't know you, Jonathan, if you could just take a few seconds to share a little bit about who you are, the background, and what you're up to.
Yeah, for sure. So, like Ben said, my name is Jonathan Hastings. My business with eXp is currently 3 days old. 2 days really. So I started on the 1st of March. I was fortunate enough to have a couple of weeks before that to kind of set up and get things ready. So I was an estate agent previously at a local estate agents, and they decided to put me on garden leave for the last 2 weeks of my notice, which was great. It gave me that opportunity to get everything set up, sorted, kind of get my mind ready. Also, have a bit of a break in between rather than going out of one door and into the following day. So it was kind of nice to have that little bit of time off, but also kind of reset and get ready for what we're about to do here. So yeah, two and a quarter days in. First instruction in the bag that came through yesterday, but the signed contract come through this morning. So I've been running around my house this morning doing a victory dance.
Honestly, I feel like I say this all the time at the minute, but the startup phase is so special, mate. When every little win is a massive victory, and you get a little dance and a jiggle on every time you hit success. So I'm envious, but happy that I get to share in the moment to some extent. So, mate, we're gonna sort of drill down a little bit into that first instruction because this is what people are often. I wouldn't say scared of, but maybe a little bit anxious about, a bit nervous of, a bit mindful of. You know, you start up on day one, as you all know, you're full of enthusiasm and passion, and you've got loads of time on your hands, and you really want to be a success and kind of find some clients. But it's kind of a case of where do I start and where is that first listing going to come from? So, can you just share a bit of an insight from your experience? What activities did you do? What prospecting did you do? What avenues did you follow to get this instruction that's been signed up this morning? Talk us through the story.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I was saying, I kind of had that little bit of time to get everything set up. So, the things that I was doing was I was getting leaflets printed. Got one here. So, I
Well, I
had,
love your branding, by the way, mate. That orange is crisp. Like it looks really nice and stands out.
thank you. I tried to go with a color that's not used in my town. That's the thinking behind it. I also like it. I think it looks really good. But I had a look around, and obviously my competitors. There's a lot of red with Connells and etc. There's a lot of navy blues. There's a lot of kind of boards that I guess could be merged in with each other that don't stand out too much. So I wanted to come up with something and kind of make my brand stand out, something that is unique. So when people do see the boards, when they start to go up more and more, they don't need to read the name. They just associate that grey and orange with me.
100%, 100%. Mate, it definitely catches the eye, and I think you got your face on there as well, have you? You've got like a miniature board behind you on the shoulder,
Yeah,
your shoulders
so I
block.
went with I went with sort of what the board's going to be on one side, and then a bit of text saying, call me if you're looking for. It says, call me today to book your free no obligation valuation, and let's discuss how I can get you moving. And it's got obviously my number and email address on there as well. So it's not
It
nothing
is.
too much, not too much text, not too much. It's not too flash, anything like that. It's pretty basic. But clearly I'm 2 days in, and I've had a call which I'm sure we'll come on to shortly. But kind of the rest of the setup phase was, like I say, getting those made and printed. So I've got 7,500 of those sat behind me, and it's kind of a daunting task looking at and kind of going, oh gosh, that is a lot.
Hey,
I've spent
hey.
I spent the last 2 days since I launched out and about, not all day, but I've been out for kind of 3-4 hours a day, traipsing the streets, getting these leaflets out. So that's been kind of the first phase. I've been getting my letterheads printed, obviously my eXp website set up, the social medias all set up. I got permission from my previous employer to launch the social media slightly early, so I could start gaining a little bit of traction and getting all that set up. So before the 1st of March, that was all I could do, was a little bit on social media, and that was it. So it was a cold start as of 2 days ago.
Amazing, but all the foundations in place.
Yeah.
So talk me through then. You got your flyers printed, and obviously, sort of see them in the background there. So it's a nice little stand for you to eat your Cheerios off, I guess, until you get them all distributed through doorsteps. But you got out day one, traipsing down, the streets locally, bashing as many as you could through doors. How many have you distributed? How many calls have you had? How did that call go? Just give us an insight into that client's transition into getting this random bright orange flyer through the door with some guy's face on that he doesn't know, to actually getting you around there, getting it on the market, and getting you off the mark, I guess, with your business. Like, talk me through that piece.
Yeah. So the last 2 days, like I said, I've probably spent 3 or 4 hours the last 2 days getting them out. If I had to guess, I would say maybe somewhere between 500 and 800. That's a bit of a guess, but that's probably what I'd say have been delivered so far that I've got out. I've had one call, which was the instruction, which I'll talk about in a minute. I've had a couple of messages through social media that have said they've had a leaflet. So it was not purely from the social media, but they've come through that channel and said that they've had something through the door. So I'm in conversations with those about booking an evaluation. But kind of where the call came from was, like I say, leaflet through the door. He called me about 1 minute after he'd received the leaflet. And he said, obviously, I just had the leaflet through the door. He said, I've actually got 2 other estate agents booked to come out this afternoon. And did I want to go out as well? Of course. I said, absolutely. I'd love to come and have a chat with you. I tried to kind of book it in later on that day because I'm literally stood round the corner from his house. I've got my jogging bottoms on, my running trainers on, like a jacket on, a rucksack on my back, not looking the best at all, sweaty mess.
Yeah.
And I kind of explained that to him. I said, it's me that's dropping them off, because he thought that that I was a canvasser, or that whoever put it through his door was a canvasser, and that obviously he'd called this number and got through to me, the estate agent. But we were both the same people. So I explained to him,
Right.
I said, I'm just around the corner. I said, I'm not fully prepared for the appointment at the moment. I said, I'd like to go away and do a bit of prep for it and kind of make myself look a bit more presentable. And he said, no, he said, don't worry about any of that. He said, just come round now if you're just around the corner. So I thought, oh gosh. Said yes. Obviously, that's what he wanted. He was aware of the situation, my situation. So I said, no problem. I said, let me just walk back to the car, drop my bag off. I said, I'll be with you in about 5-10 minutes time. No problem. So I go back, quickly sit in the car for 5 minutes, pull up Rightmove sold prices, have a little look at, exactly what's going on his road. I noticed that another agent had a property on the market that was about 3 or 4 doors up from him. So I thought I'd just have a little look at that. How long's that been on? How much was that on for, etc. So fairly limited kind of prep. Obviously, I know the area anyway because I'm local myself, but kind of you like to be a bit more prepared. And then it kind of dawned on me that I hadn't at this point really thought about what I was going to be talking about in the appointment. I thought I've done thousands of valuations over my just over 8-year kind of journey in estate agency, and I'm sat there and I'm going, right, this is completely new. I'm not being backed by a big company. They haven't given me these touch points, these presenter, this, and I thought, right, what am I going to do? I thought I'll just wing it. I'll go in. I know the job. I know what I'm doing. I know my brand, and I know what I can offer him and what I will do for him. So we went for it. I went in my jogging bottoms, running trainers. We have a sit down at his coffee table. Him and his wife was there. We had a good chat about, and I was kind of totally upfront with him. I said, look, because at this point it was day one. It was the 1st of March.
Yeah.
It was hours after, I'd launched my business, I guess. And I just said that to him. I said, look, I'm a new business in the area. It's my personal brand. I'm powered by eXp, which is obviously a really large company. So they give me the back end and the tools. So I've got listings on the major portals. You know, I'm not a one man band as such, but it will be a personal service between me and you, which he really liked. So anyway, we're having a chat and a coffee. And then he tells me that obviously I knew he had two other agents going out, and both the other agents I kind of had dealings with. One in particular was the company that I just left the day before. So I thought, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, the appointment goes well. I kind of did my thing, left the appointment, and kind of made some notes. I went back to the car, made some notes, and thought, right, okay, that's appointment number one. This could have gone a bit better. I probably should have said this, you know. So I made myself a few notes, kind of analyzing, right, okay, kind of thrown in the deep end. What can I do here? And anyway, about 4 or 5 o'clock that day, he sends me a WhatsApp message saying that he really liked me, that he trusted me, likes what I'm going to do for him, and wanted to instruct me.
Hey,
And I'm, but
amazing, mega.
then I'm thinking, right, that's great. I've got this message. This guy wants to instruct me, and I'm going, what now? What do I do
Yeah.
now? So I messaged Aaron Tonks. I think you've had him on a couple of the podcasts. So
Yeah.
he's the EXP agent locally, and I said, Aaron, I've got an instruction. What do I do?
Oh man, good. So he put you on the right track and hopefully land you up. You've got your contract back now, so he must have given you some decent advice. But mate, that's incredible. And I just think that like your first instruction when it's like you really, really, really want to make sure that you get off to the best start. Every opportunity is like a piece of gold that you don't want to drop. Like how funny that you just squashed up in your car around the corner wearing a full Nike trackie and a hoodie. Like that's no preparation, no comparables, no sort of preempting or planning and just getting chucked straight into the living room. But mate, they're sometimes the best conversations because it just kind of strips away your ability to overthink and overcomplicate it. It forces you into the living room and then you just sat there probably feeling a bit shaky for the first few seconds, but then they get the kettle on, they speak to you, person to person, and you just hit it off, build a rapport. You're genuine, you're authentic, and I think there's something endearing about the fact that you are a smaller business, you are a startup. Like we want to back the little guys. That probably, I think, probably went in your favor as well, mate. So it's amazing to see that it all kind of came off. So when's that on the market? Are you getting it on this week, or is it one that's going to be pending for a launch down the line?
No. So launch is booked in. It's actually booked in for next Friday. He's having a new front door fitted next Wednesday.
Right.
So it makes sense to wait to get that the front shot, etc. With the new front door. So it's all booked in. Photographers booked. I'm going to go around there as well. To sit down and just kind of we're going to finally decide on the price. Obviously, I'll give him my opinion. He had two other valuations that were similar, so we're just going to come up with that final marketing price
A strategy.
that he
Yeah,
wants to
yeah.
go on at and make a plan.
Happy days, mate. And I'm not going to put you on the spot with this. You don't have to tell me figures, but
Mm.
I know that from our brief conversation earlier today, when I kind of give you a ring just to congratulate you on the success, you mentioned that you was by no means the cheapest agent in either, right? So he obviously prioritized the trust and the buy-in that he had into Jonathan Hastings more so than trying to get the cheapest fee.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would be the middle ground. Obviously I know the agents that were going out. One would have been more than me. I think he's gone with a middle ground in terms of fee. I'll be honest. I would have hoped to have charged slightly more, but like I said, I was put on the spot, so I was thinking on my feet, and I knew he was having out. So I knew that the company that I'd previously left would be very competitive, especially when they found out that it was me,
Mm, mm,
which they
mm,
did. You know, they went back to
mm,
it the following day and reduced their fee even more to try and win the
mm.
business back off me, etc. I don't mind sharing. It's going to go on at around 400,000, maybe slightly over, maybe 415. And I'm in at 0.5%. Obviously, usually I would like to have been a lot more than that and be quoting kind of around that 1% mark and maybe a bit of wiggle room. But I thought, let me get myself off the mark here, 0.5%, plus VAT, of course. So it's going to be circa £2,000 plus VAT, which is okay. It's okay. Of course, I'll be hoping for more, and I will be holding my fee a lot more. But just with that whole scenario, how that kind of hour played out in itself, like I said, not prepared, not kind of super thinking about it. We were just going with the flow, and I could tell that he was semi-fee motivated because he'd already said to me that one of the agents had quoted him 1%, and he says there's no way I'm going to be paying that. So I thought, okay, so he is fee motivated. So there was an element of that as well.
You will though, mate. Like I always think that, people always ask me a lot about, do I drop my fee in the early stages to get the first instructions? And
Mm.
I think there's a difference between pushing yourself as a bargain basement cheap alternative and offering discretionary discount if and when you feel it makes strategic sense for the benefit of you and your business.
Yeah.
And I think especially in those early stages when you need a bit of social proof, you want to get the boards up, you know, hold strong on your fee where you can. But I think sometimes if it does make strategic sense, you've got a house there approaching £500,000 that you can hopefully do a decent job with the marketing for, get some class photography, get some decent videos, get a board up, get some social content, hopefully get some success, get a result, get a review.
Mhm.
And that's just a foundation that you go on to kind of build from. So, mate, it's incredible to be off the mark with that success. And just kind of parking that list into one side, Jonathan, you mentioned you've got a couple of potential irons in the fire, other conversations going.
Mm.
One thing I just wanted to isolate was you mentioned in conversation there that you've got some messages through Facebook, people who've picked up flyers or whatever else and come to your social media. I think there's a point there that needs highlighting that often the marketing strategies kind of work together, like in a way where they kind of cross pollinate. So it's kind of like you put the flyer through someone's door, someone might ring you, and you attribute the success of that conversation and that valuation or that instruction to that flyer. But actually, it might be that you sent a flyer, then they noticed a board, then they went on your Facebook, they watched the video that you did about 3 tips for people who are considering selling the home, then they went onto your website, really like the photography you did for the house around the corner, and it's probably a small component of all of those things that have compounded into that final result. So it's interesting there that you've sent the flyers, they've gone ahead, they've researched you on Facebook, they've found some content, they've bought into something to the point where they've found they're willing to open up the conversation and kind of put their head above the parapet to make their intents known. So it just goes to show really that it pays sometimes to kind of have your different sort of lead generation strategies going side by side because they all kind of playing together to get you the final result. What other conversations have you had? Are these people who are just kind of like in the early stages of planning a move? Are they asking for advice? Are they years away? Are they asking for valuations right now? How's the landscape looking outside of the instruction that you've thankfully managed to get?
Yeah, so one of those I've booked in for evaluation this morning. He messaged me.
Well, I didn't even realize that. That wasn't even a loaded question. I didn't even know, but that's great. This conversation just goes from win to win.
Yeah. So he started messaging me. The first message came through last night from social media because I put my the button underneath the post was straight to my WhatsApp. So
Yeah.
I had a message come through. It was about 9:30 last night. Just started having a very brief conversation with him. I'll read. I don't mind reading it. The first message that came in, so I can let you know what he kind of asked me. So it came through. He put, "Hi, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom to sell with a large wraparound balcony, allocated parking space plus visitor parking space. What are your fees for selling? Thanks, Stefan." So yeah, that was
So
the message that initially came through. He's just kind of saying, "This is what I've got," asking my fees. I've gone back to him. We've had a long conversation now, and I'm yet to disclose what the fees are. We've just started chatting
you've
away.
got the commitment for an appointment.
Of course, got the name, got the number, the email address, the full address of where he's looking to sell. So I've got all of that now. So he's going to be nurtured, and obviously already has been because I spoke to him again this morning and booked in that appointment. So I'm going to go and see him on Monday morning.
Mate, like obviously, like very early stages, a lot of hard work to do. Many
Mm.
more ups and downs, I'm sure. But what a brilliant start, mate! Couple of days in, conversations going, appointments in the diary, a sign up on your books, a signed contract, a marketing day booked in. Mate, life could be worse. And to top it all off, it's Friday, so I'll definitely raise a beer for you tonight, Jonathan. That's a brilliant startup story, mate. And thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share it. Appreciated.
No problem at all. And like I say, I guess something that I'd say to people that are thinking of joining eXp and my kind of experience of it is that, yes, it's, scary is probably the right word. Me and you had a conversation, I think probably 2 years ago now. That was our
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
first message when I kind of thought about it at the time and thought, do I, don't I, is it a good model? Is it right for me? And honestly, at that time, it wasn't quite right for me. I wasn't ready. I think you have to have the right sort of circumstances and hunger for it. So things have kind of aligned now. I've made, I've moved house. I've got a little one. She's now 1.5 years old. Just kind of the timing's working for me now, which I think is important to assess. So it's, that first conversation 2 years ago, it's not like we were speaking every week or every other week.
Yeah.
It was maybe a message every few months, etc. But the stars are lined up, and I'm chuffed that I've done it. So.
Well, congratulations, man. And it all works out for a reason. You're right. Like everyone's running a different race at a different pace with different circumstances, different barriers and hurdles to overcome. But I think once you're in that mindset that you're setting yourself up to succeed and not setting yourself up for a fall, that's when you know it's time to. It never gets easier. It never gets more comfortable. It's always going to be scary, but you know that, okay, now I'm ready to apply myself and really have a good crack at this. And mate, great to see that you managed to sort of make that step with a young one to provide for and a future to build for that lovely young family of yours, mate. I'm sure. So yeah, it's great to see you, man. And obviously here if you need me.
Yeah, no problem. I guess last thing for me is if obviously if anybody watches this that's not with eXp, that's thinking of joining and just wants an honest opinion of someone who's on the coal face now. I haven't been with eXp for years. I'm not currently making thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of pounds. It's like I
It'll
said,
come.
day three, message me on social media. It's Jonathan Hastings, the agent. Send me a message. I'll have a chat all day long with people that are thinking of doing it and just give you an honest answers to any questions that you've got.
Mate, amazing. And for anyone who is listening and wants to take Jonathan up on that, I'll make sure that I link your socials into the notes as well, so people can find you easier. But legend, mate. Well, hopefully this is a sign of what's to come. The green shoots of success are starting to come through at this early stage, so that's promising, if nothing else. And yeah, wishing you the best of luck for the month ahead, bro.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks.
Keep well.